Welcome to the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent.
Jen, good afternoon. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome. Thanks for joining me on the Friday at 4 podcast series, filling in for Steve Kent, who is traveling this week. He's on business.
Well, that's a good thing, I think, right?
Yeah, he's
Better
I
than
think he's
no
out in
business.
Texas. Yeah, I think we're out to Texas for some business from training or something. So yeah.
Oh, that
He'll
sounds
fill
like
he'll fill
fun.
us in when he comes back.
I get to do the fun things while he's gone, right? I'm sure he'd rather
Yeah.
be here. Sorry, Steve. You have to
Absolutely.
do that terrible traveling while we stay here on Zoom.
Terrible traveling, right?
We need to put him like a field reporter, like checking in
Yeah,
from Texas. You'll have the microphone and showing us
exactly.
what
Yep.
he's doing.
Yeah. So I like this topic that you had wanted to discuss this Friday. Really cool. It ties. I think it's good. It helps all of us, right? It helps any business, and I think it's really cool that we're talking about the real cost of poor health in business, right? I mean, I I think a lot of people don't really think about your health when you're busy with your face stuck in your business. You're just driving along and you're running your business, and next thing you know, things can creep up on you, right? Let's talk a little bit about the mindset on what you think about, the poor health in business. Give us some insight.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think when we look at it as a business perspective, if you're passionate about your business, the first thing you do when you wake up till you go to bed, it's about building your business, especially early on. And even as you go, you're building that momentum. Then as you get big, you've got employees to deal with and maybe like Steve traveling and you know what this is like, both of us before when we were working a regular job and then trying to build a business on the back end while you're doing that. The big thing that you can do is neglect yourself until something comes up and happens. And I know it happened to me. I ended up, 50 pounds overweight. I wasn't completely diagnosed, but I know I had high blood pressure, pre-diabetes. Things happen. Just you're grabbing bad food. You're not really your number one goal is not yourself, especially in the early phases of building a business. But then when it comes down to it, like you deal with people with the health of the business, for example, like you see it from a customer perspective. You're trying to go in, with your business and you're saying, okay, let me see what my experience was like. And sometimes we think of things like, silverware and things like that. But then on the other end, you're dealing with real people. And if the people are off, if they're out sick, that puts you in an awkward position as a customer. You're short staffed, the people there are stressed. And then I think if the business owner is not taking care of their health and something comes up or they're not feeling as energetic, they might be putting off things that the employees have been asking for. They might be short with their staff, which I find ultimately trickles down. Are you able to ever notice that when you come into a business, like you wouldn't maybe even know the original reason, but you can tell sometimes when people just aren't feeling good or aren't, feeling themselves?
I think you nailed it. When you go into a business, from the time you walk in that front door, whether it's a restaurant, a bar, or any kind of business, when you're customer facing, and you do notice when somebody is not 100%,
Mhm.
and it does show in their quality of their performance. You can tell when someone's stressed, got things going on, and they're not feeling well. And you're right, it shows, you know?
And I apologize, everyone. I know I wasn't going to mention it, but I have a glare on me from like my window, the way the sun's setting. So I need to find a better setup. And like this time of year, it seems like spring. It was nice and
Yeah,
bright when we did it at this time. But
yeah.
I really truly think that that's one of the reasons that I realized this has got to, there's got to be a way that we can add this into our life because we're busy. We can't just stop and spend 3 hours at the gym all day, right? That's unrealistic. I mean, maybe some of us can, but I sure don't. You can tell by my muscles. But, I think squeezing little things in that take a couple of moments for yourself. I know for the most part, I created that daily health checklist for that, which you've been, commenting on and stuff I've been sharing. But these are like really easy things that you can do as a business owner to try to like, look out for your own health a little bit. You don't have to make changes overnight. Everybody's not going to, end up eating super clean. You're going to have times where you have to grab stuff on the go. But I think, for me, I just really felt a big change just from switching my regular lunch to fruit or when I get hungry first, and some like greens with it. And that gives me like lettuce and grapefruit, for example. But be careful if you're on medication with grapefruit. I should have picked a different fruit, but like an orange, say you have an orange and some like, leafy greens. And it sounds funny if you're used to stopping and grabbing a burger and things like that, but you can also bring it with you if you're someone who travels. You can make have a quick lunch at work and just at least give it a try. You might end up wanting to eat later on, but it gives you so much energy so that you might be better for like customers and more productive because that big lunch can really bring you down, I think, at work. I know for me, after like 2 o'clock, it'd be like drifting off at my desk, right? So just
That
that.
2 o'clock nod.
And you don't realize even like a big filling like salad for dinner, at least having those vegetables before you eat your regular dinner, you start to notice these things compound over time. And then like, instead of maybe sitting in your office at your desk and putting your feet up, going outside, maybe even if you just walk outside and get some sunlight, that actually boosts your hormones, especially like your feel good, uplifting. If you go for a little walk, even I have this under desk bike that I try to remember to use, like just to stretch my feet out because, depending what you do, if you work in a desk or you're out and about, sometimes you can still get stuck like just being motionless. And I've noticed, especially older, like 48, where I'm at now, if I sit too long, I start to feel like my legs are getting stiff. It's almost like
And let
use
me
it or
tell
lose it.
you, yeah, let me tell you, when I'm out there, my car has to tell me to take a break. It'll bing and say, time for a break. It'll remind me it's 2.5 hours. All right, get out of this car,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I find a time, I'll stop, get out, walk around, take a restroom break, walk around the car, stretch the legs a little bit. And the hips really get crampy to the hips, the lower back, and my
Hmm.
ankles, all those things are really like stiff when you're trying to get out of that car, 'cause especially when I do long trips, I'm traveling all the time, I think this is a great tie-in, what we talk about here with health and wellness, especially like that connection between wellness and the bottom line, right? So when you're constantly on the go, like me, constantly moving, you're constantly sitting at a desk or whatever, we forget to do that movement, right? We forget to get our bodies moving. Or if we're sitting at the desk and we're not, we got a piece of pizza in front of us because, it's the first thing
Hmm.
we can grab to eat, and we don't realize that that's going to compound and really affect us hours, days, weeks, months down the line when you're going to start noticing these things take effect, right? And I think one of the best examples is time off, right? The less healthier you eat, the more sickness you're going to get, time off from work.
Yep.
So employees are going to be calling out. So it hits the bottom line of the business because now the business owner is going to be short staffed because people are calling out, runs around the office, runs around the business. Everybody starts getting it. And before you know it, everybody's sick. And then what do you do, right?
Yeah. And I don't think
Mm.
like I've always thought about health as reactive, right? Like in my 20s, if something hurt, it was like, oh, I need to take medicine for it. And I never really realized that chronic pain, which it hurts like businesses so much because when someone's in chronic pain, you wake up differently every day. I know how it used to be with my back. And I never realized that food, what you put in, really has that big of a play in keeping your joints moving. Like arthritis could be helped with whole, like in my opinion and my case, whole food, plant-based, a lot of raw fruits and vegetables. Like even if it's something you can't switch to right away or all the way, I think adding more, fruits and vegetables, adding more movement to your day, just getting it in when you can. I think I used to put things off and be like, well, you
Yeah.
know, I don't have an hour to work out. Well, if you don't have an hour, sometimes if you just kind of lie to yourself and take 10 minutes, you get into it, right? And you're like, oh, I might as well just walk around the block another 2 or 3 times, or I might as well stay on this elliptical because I'm already on here and I've already blocked out the time. I think just
Yeah.
doing little bits and pieces can make a difference. And like you said, instead of if you're younger and you're just starting a business and you're feeling like these things are starting to happen to you, maybe you're in pain or you're feeling like you're not your best, like catch it early, right? Or just do it even if you're feeling great, because these things catch up to us as time goes on. And stress can be so, I didn't realize until this year, and you probably, I think you commented on this video I made about how stress affects our insulin. Like that's another thing I never connected. It can actually create insulin resistance, which is the beginning of, diabetes. And that I never realized that. So taking a minute for yourself, you don't have to have a 2 week vacation, but taking a minute to breathe and just go outside, like I'll do that just right on my back porch, just sit in the sun for a minute, take a deep breath, and then just come back and get back to work. And it really, I never used to do that. Always go, 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 because I'm passionate about everything. But I started to realize, even eating healthy, it's more to do with it than that. And I think business owners are one of the biggest people that don't take time for themselves.
Yeah. Something I wish I would have thought about doing before this. I would have thought about looking up what percentage, of businesses are affected by, the downtime of people being sick and calling out of work, especially this time of year when allergies are high, the weather changes. And a lot of people don't realize that when the weather changes, it really affects your well-being because you get sniffles, your head gets plugged up, you get sore throat. We think we're sick, we go to the doctor. But the doctor says, no, nothing wrong with you. It's just allergies, the time of the year. And then now you've called out at the day from work, right? Because you thought you were sick. Now you put the business behind because you weren't there to help the business out. So it kind of plays into all of this, right? So you got healthy eating, exercising, allergies. You got this whole like line of things that can happen for just one day, right? And let's say you go to work and you're not feeling good, you're sick, but you made it anyway. It shows in your facial expressions. You weren't on top of your game. You were serving a table of four, and they felt that they could just tell something was wrong because it showed in your productivity. Now they gave you a bad rating or a bad review because you weren't on top of your game. And now your business is suffering because you weren't 100%. You didn't
Hmm.
show it. So now how it all snowballed, right? So I love the fact that from what you do and from what I do, we can really corral all this and make everything a nice, productive piece. That way you don't have to go to work with these problems and then have somebody give you a bad review because you were showing that you just weren't 100%, right? What do you think?
Oh, I agree. And then if we really take it all the way back up the ladder, to if the business owner is not on top of their game and they're stressed because they're already short-staffed, you might feel like you have to come in even if you're not feeling your best. So you might be in a situation with a lot of small businesses don't have a lot of, help and things. So I think that can, it can all play a part in it, but I would say the best thing to do is maybe have some type of, program program or give them some type of way that you can show them how to care about, take care of themselves for their health. And like for me, the wild thing was, and this may not happen for everybody, but I do know a lot of people in the communities I'm in, when they did eliminate eating dairy, it actually eliminated their seasonal allergies. And, I haven't gotten so deep in the science yet for that, but it seems like a miracle to me that I've dealt with terrible allergies like this time of year and in the spring. I would start off with a really bad cold. Sometimes I'd have that like bronchial thing all winter. You know how it starts out with, I mean, all summer long almost, and it was just really, really annoying, right? It wasn't something like chronic illness that, the same thing I was dealing with the back pain, but it was just one of those annoying things that I just figured everybody has them, everybody's got to live with. And doing that type of elimination in my diet and bringing in more fruits and vegetables, the fact that it can change your health doesn't make sense on that scale. Like, I think we all know the studies are all there. Oh, if we lose weight, or I didn't realize even getting older how important it was to just have a little strength training and things now that I'm getting into my 40s. So just paying attention to these little things so it doesn't seem like things sneak up on you and just happen, because it can be
Yeah.
so easy to let it get too late. And I mean, I have seen people, on the interviews I've done, we can even start to, I don't want to say anything that's not, claiming cure or whatever they say, right? I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I've
You're not a
seen people
doctor.
improve their symptoms significantly of most chronic illness with a change in diet and lifestyle, and
Yeah.
um, I think one of the things that it's important, if you have a business, is presenting this information, for your clients, having something hanging on the wall or something to remind them to take care of themselves is going to help your business and help you as the business owner because, you need to be on top of your game. You know what it's like handling
Yeah.
employees. You've been in business for a long time, and then
Yeah.
stresses come up, and you're even able to, like, your mood is affected by food. I know for
Yeah.
me, like, if
Yeah.
I'm not feeling good and something comes up, and then it's so much harder to deal with and to be grateful for the people around you. You just start to feel annoyed by everything when your body, it's like, it's amazing to me how much we live in this body, and it's really the basis for everything. You could offer me a free 3-day vacation, and or you could offer me $1 million, and really none of it matters if I'm not feeling good or I'm
Not
not at
feeling
my
it, right?
best.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was going to mention, I wonder if there is like, corporations always offer and you hear it when you go to work for a big company. One thing they are touting is the health and wellness program. We have this great program for your health, right? But do smaller businesses offer something like that, right? And I don't know if that exists. Maybe some do, maybe some don't, right? So I'm curious to know what businesses out there. If you're a business owner watching this, when this gets posted, you know, comment, let us know. Do you offer a wellness program for people to try to do something to combat that side of, where you're not eating healthy, you're not exercising, you're not able to manage your stress because it all goes together, right? Not eating right, not exercising, trust levels up, everything tends to go right to your immune system and you get sick. And we see that so much. And I do. I know when I get like that, I know the stress is coming. I know the way I eat. I said, I got to be careful. I'm going to get sick.
Awareness is key, right?
Yeah, awareness is key. And
And
I know, right. I know
you're
what I
right.
eat. I know when I eat. I know how I eat. And I know I got to be careful. When these stresses come along, all that combination is going to be bad. So one thing I wanted to mention to you about was, do you have a short program that people could use or go to on your website that we could offer as a link here in the show notes to help them try to put themselves in the right direction of doing things to where they're not, you know, harming the business that they're working at and harming themselves to where it all could be synergy with semi eating better, exercising somewhat, getting yourself together, like a little, better way of life. That way you're not affecting others, that way not affecting yourself, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I was going to say, how about finding also the best of both worlds? And that's what I try to help people do. I love these Chipotle bowls, right? But obviously, in the end, it's fast food. So, like, I found a way that, and this is what I've been eating this week to recreate that with instead of rice, I use quinoa, which is a similar rice texture. I'm using lentils instead of their, store-bought sofritas meat that they use. And it's like finding ways that you can still enjoy your food because I think people say all the way over here, like, I gotta be bored and eat healthy. And then over here, I get to eat really bad. So, like, combining those and then also adding little things into your day. And to answer your question, I have like a free meal plan and then also a daily health checklist that's on there. Maybe you could even hang it up at your business just to remind people throughout the day to do these things. And then also, I have my Amazing Transformers Club, which is open to men and women and everyone that wants to like learn how about adding more healthy foods to their life and things like that. And then also I have the Women Over 40, which I call the Gladiators Club because of my book Sad to Glad, but that's for specifically women because sometimes when we're in menopause and or premenopause, we're dealing with things where we might feel more comfortable having these group coaching calls that I do weekly. And it's just little daily reminders, tips, things that you don't have to make this huge commitment to me, but
Yeah.
you have that accountability there. And so I think it's those are the three, thing or four things that I would say. And they're all on the website along with my book.
Right. And I think you mentioned it well, that keyword, right? Accountability. I think a lot of us, me included, don't hold ourselves accountable enough to say, get out the car more, go take a walk more, less stress, more healthy eating. Don't
Yeah.
eat so many burgers and fries. You know what I mean? It's that
I think it's
accountability piece, right?
because we don't look at our body as a priority. We just really haven't been, that mindset shift is key for everybody, like
Yeah.
we start to a little bit more when we get older because we realize, oh gosh, this is breaking down. But I think when you're young, it's so easy to ignore your body, right? And the
Yeah.
signals and just keep moving through it. So, well,
Yeah.
I see you mentioning you're eating more healthy, so I'm proud of you.
Yeah. I'm getting there.
And we're going to
You know?
find you a burger that you like
Yeah.
that's actually healthy too. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that would be the key. So you don't have to feel deprived. Like, I love my burgers, I love my fries. Just get
Yeah.
them a little more healthy.
Yep. And I think for me, the hardest part for me is because I'm on the road so much, out recording, driving.
Hmm.
It's very hard to bring food along when you're eating healthy because it is difficult to try to manage. I've been there before, managing
Hmm.
very healthy food. It was hard. It's a lifestyle. It's a big lifestyle change, right? And I think you nailed it right, is that you got to find that balance. Yes, you can have your McDonald's, your Burger King, but if you find that balance to where if I have a salad or eating something in fruits and vegetables with that, it's going to be a lot better than constantly stopping two, three times a day, but nothing but fast food shoved down your throat, you
And
know?
cheaper.
Yeah.
Bringing a big thing of fruit might be or something that you can bring along, even if it's not around you. Like if you don't stop and smell it, I think sometimes that's a lot easier too. But, what I used to do was the food delivery. So that was always smells of fast food. So that was a bit harder,
Yeah.
but for the
Yep.
most part.
Yeah.
Well,
One thing I think I
we do what we
mentioned,
can.
yeah, one thing I think I mentioned to you, I wanted to try to start doing was daily find something out there, go somewhere daily, fruit or vegetable, and show that I ate it. Hey, look, Jen, I got a bowl of watermelon. Hey, look, I got cantaloupe today. Hey, look, I got a bowl of peas today.
Right.
You
That would
know,
be awesome.
yeah, yeah. And then
Snow peas? Oh my gosh, they're so good. And now you have me wanting watermelon too. Thanks a lot. You're getting me
yes,
hungry. You know I don't
yes,
eat yet.
watermelon is my favorite. I love it. Yes,
That's the best
yeah,
thing I've ever heard. Like you said, that's
yeah,
what the checklist is all about because you're adding to your life, not saying I got to give up everything right away.
yeah. And I think you nail it, right? You can, if people just would make a list of things that they like. I love
Hmm.
watermelon, I love cantaloupe, I love honeydew, I love cherries, I love red seedless grapes, and
Me too.
bananas, right? And you make that list and just look at it and say, what can I eat today? One,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to have a whole bunch of bananas. You don't have to eat a whole bag of grapes, a whole watermelon. Just pick some and eat it throughout the day, throughout the week, and then just keep shifting and moving around. I think it'll work better because you're not stressing yourself saying, I have to do this. I need to eat this. You're just eating it because you like it, right? It's simple, you
It's
know?
a crowding effect that I was talking about the other day with someone. There's an effect in psychology when you start crowding good things into your life, those other things just naturally kind of scoot out of the forefront. Because if you think
Yeah,
about it, you eat a big bowl of watermelon at 10 a.m., you might forget that, you might feel full if you ate a half a watermelon, and just
yeah,
realize, oh, you know what? It's 2 o'clock and I usually eat lunch and I don't even feel I might just eat dinner tonight. So now you've
right.
already helped. So who knows?
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
adding, I feel like that's such a big thing. Like people look at it as so negative, but putting things in your body that are good for your body, that it loves, is
yeah.
where I think the shift has to happen instead of I'm just making myself miserable because that's not good for stress levels. Who wants to go around hating what they eat all the time, right?
I'm glad you said that because this is a good segue to our last point here I want to make before we wrap up is mood. Foods will affect the mood. And I think that's a great, well, I made a rhyme. Food is mood. How about it? There you
Yes.
go.
And if you
There you
replace
go.
the M with the F, oh wait, we don't want to cuss.
We don't want to do that, right? But it's accurate. I think food really does control your mood. And I think if you can control that part and you control the mood, you really can help your stress levels come down. Your body's gonna run better. You won't get sick. You're not gonna hold your boss up because you had to call out from work. And you're not
Hmm.
going to irritate your customers if you're a server in a restaurant or if you're customer facing, making milkshakes or handing out burgers, whatever the case may be. People see that mood, right? And I think one of the craziest things is when you're on the phone, you're not face to face, you can still hear it. So people
Yeah,
don't think just because you work in the call center or you work on the phone that people don't hear it. They can hear when you're not 100%, you know?
I completely agree with that wholeheartedly because I do a lot of phone work, so I believe it. I can tell when someone's not happy as soon as they pick up the phone. Something
Yeah.
you were mentioning made me think of something else, but I forgot. I guess I'll save it for next one.
What you got real fast?
Oh, I forgot. Like it was something
Oh,
so good I wanted to say while you were talking, and then I was like, I started, and then I'm like, wait, I forgot. But it'll
I
come
forgot
to
what I was
me at
going to
the
say
wrong
now.
time in the middle of dinner tonight, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
Chuck, can we get back
You'll
on the
text me later.
live?
Hey, this is what I want to talk about. I remember it now. Yeah.
Yep. Oh.
That's funny. Oh man. All right. So we wrap it up here. Last thoughts. What you got?
I would just say that, adding simple daily habits that start to just think of it in a way that I want to do this for my body, the body that I live in, the body that takes care of me and keeps me alive, and start trying to put as many things in and do as many things for your body as you can so that you can look at it as kind of a temple, as they say, that you live in, instead of, also make sure you're having fun and enjoying what you're eating. I loved what you said, find things you like because it's not always either one side or the other. And of course, if you need some help and guidance, I'm here. I have, my group that you can join. It's very laid back. Also, I apologize for the puns and jokes in advance, but we also have some of those going on. But it's
That makes it
it's really
fun, right?
fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it makes it fun.
encouraging,
Keeps it
safe
light.
space, right? And especially for
Yeah.
those wanting to learn more about plant-based foods and what they can do for you. And I'm really excited to be on here and talk to your audience and hope that I can help someone get a little bit healthier and enjoy life better.
Yeah, I'm glad you took the opportunity to come on. Would need to help when Steve, is out traveling and can't be here. I really appreciate you stepping in with your knowledge, because
Thanks for
you
having
have,
me.
yeah, I mean, you have a lot of knowledge. I love watching your posts. And if anybody's not following her, please follow Jen on all of her social medias and especially her website, blueprint.com, right?
Glad, like GLAD
Glad
blueprint.com.
Blueprint.
So all
Yeah,
all
Glad
one.
Blueprint. Gladblueprint.com. There we go.
Yes.
We got it.
And you can go there and you can sign up for everything that we talked about, the free meal plan and everything on there. And
Yeah.
I might even come up with a way to come up with maybe with a business for businesses, like a health plan, but that's right
Mhm.
now you can get all those individual freebies.
I think you should work on that with me. I think you and I should try to find time, maybe 10 minutes a week or whatever to work on something so you and I can, because I'm on the road all the time, it'd be perfect, right? Because for someone who's
Mm-hmm.
on the go, let's put something together to help someone who is fast paced, who needs something like this, who can better themselves while you're out there, right? What do you think?
I like it. Definitely.
Let's
I
do
think
it.
we can help a lot of people.
Yeah, and then we can put that up. You can put it on your website and have all your social media. You can talk about, hey, look what we just created. And here's the
Yes.
guy that's actually doing it, me.
Yes, I would love that. Thank you.
Yeah. Jen, appreciate you coming on the Friday at 4 podcast series because can you do it? It's 4 o'clock
Because
somewhere.
it's 4 o'clock somewhere. I was like, I forgot. I know there's a little tagline I'm supposed to
A
say, but
little
I
tag.
remember that country song. I actually used to really like it.
Yeah, that 5 o'clock somewhere. That's where I got it
Yes.
from. Yeah.
And for a lot of life, speaking of being unhealthy, I
I
was
know,
always
right?
thinking it was 5 o'clock somewhere, right? I would use
Right.
that in my own life. Not so much anymore. Happy hours
Exactly.
become fruit eating hour.
Right. It's a fruit hour. Time to eat some
Yeah,
fruit.
right. It's time to eat some
I love it.
walnuts.
Yeah, I hear you. Jen, appreciate you coming on again. Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure. I love sharing your knowledge with myself and my audience, and our audience will, I'm sure people listening to this are going to love it. Reach out to you, and get that knowledge. It won't hurt.
Yes,
It can only help the body, mind,
absolutely.
and soul, right?
And
Yeah.
get in touch with Chuck to see the health of your business, right? I remember what it was. There's snacks on the meal plan talking about running around on the road. That's what I wanted to say earlier, maybe. I don't know. That's one
Gotcha.
of the things.
Gotcha. That's awesome. All right, man. Let's wrap up here,
Mm,
Jen. Have a great day. Have a great weekend, and we will talk soon.
all right. Thank you again, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you all for listening. I love
Yes.
checking out the
Every day.
comments later. We answer everyone.
You got it. Absolutely. Jen, take care, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
You got it.
You've been watching the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent. Thanks for watching.